This is something that's happened twice now in the past month. Otherwise, I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. I've said in other episodes that I've experienced a lot of subtle racism, and sometimes I've pointed to events or incidents where I've dealt with just blatant racism. I had an encounter with somebody a couple of days ago, and they're somebody that probably would consider themselves maybe not a friend of mine, but at least friendly towards me. We were in a public place, we were drinking beers, we were watching sports, and in my mind, I believe it was an unprovoked thing that led to this person using the N-word, a white man. And today I just want to talk about how that happened, how it made me feel, and why I am going to make the strongest argument for why white people maybe just shouldn't be saying the N-word. I know it's crazy that we're having this conversation in 2022, but it's happened twice in the past month. One time was with somebody that I just met, and the other time was by somebody that I'd known for years and just decided it was like a good idea to just, pop one out. And, we're going to talk about that today. Let's do it. Therapy, season 3 of Therapy. Okay, so Sharif and I, friend of mine, friend of the show, we are at Buffalo Wild Wings to watch Argentina play Australia in the 2022 World Cup. It's a good game, messy scores.
Messi's pass, and he gets it back. Lionel Messi! That is what he does! Lionel Messi reaches out for perfection and grabs it.
All types of fun. Throughout the game, we notice that there's these two guys sitting at the table next to us. They seem to be watching the same game. They seem like they're kind of in our age range, like millennials. One of them's in their early 30s, I believe. The other one's like in their early 40s. Okay, so they're not really our age, but they seem like cool people. They have the occasional outburst, the occasional comment, and it makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe we could get along with these guys. I don't know. We're in a bar, it's the middle of the day, people are drinking. You'd like to build rapport with the people around you, see if they have similar interests. Eventually, we decide to sit at their table with them, and it's two guys. They're both white. Dude sitting next to me, he's wearing glasses. He seems like shorter. He's cool. He's like, I don't know, we just get along, we hit it off. We were talking about video games and politics, and we agree on a lot. Like, he's a really cool dude. Now, his friend across the table from him, he is louder, he's drunker, he's got a backwards hat on, he's wearing glasses, he's in the military. He seems like problematic. I don't know. We get along, but it's very clear that Sharif and him are having a certain conversation, and the guy next to me, we're having a different conversation, and we're all getting along. Everything's cool. No worries. Now, I'm not going to bury the lead here. We are having a very normal conversation about tattoos, okay? This is how this starts. Tattoos. How do we get from tattoo to somebody saying the N-word?
Boy, I'd love to know.
Don't worry. I'm going to get you there. So, Sharif has a tattoo. Guy next to me has a tattoo. Guy across the table from me with the backwards hat with the glasses on, former military dude, he has tattoos too. Everybody has tattoos but me. So I say, kind of half joking, kind of half true. Well, okay, here's the part that's true. I walk down the street, a white woman might pull her child closer to her or cross the street entirely. It's happened before, unfortunately. That's just, one of those wonderful reminders that I'm black and it's still America. But it's okay. Generally speaking, it's fine. It's no big deal. I've walked through a mall before and seen somebody clutch their purse when I walk past them, and I just can't help but feel like if Sharif or my friend Matt Jackson were to walk past somebody in a mall, they're not like grabbing their things, That's just subtle racism. It happens. I am making this point, and I understand that it's a very serious thing to say, and it could kind of sour the mood. So I'd throw in a joke in the middle of what I'm saying. At the same time that these things happen, as soon as I open my mouth to speak, they realize I'm one of the good ones, and they kind of loosen up a bit. And I want to be clear about this. When I'm joking, it's a joke, okay? And I feel like I'm allowed to make that joke because I'm the person that it's happening to, and I have a nuanced understanding of the circumstance. So I say that, the guy next to me, he's laughing really hard.
Yeah, he said one of the good ones. Yeah.
But the joke is there aren't the good ones or the bad ones. We're just people. Black people, white people, we're just people. And there's good black people like Obama, and there's bad black people like Kanye West for the past month. There's good white people like, notice the pause, Ryan Reynolds, and there's bad white people like Ezra Miller. The point isn't race. The point is, like, whatever. You guys get it. I think I have a smart enough audience to understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm saying that to lighten the mood. I'm not saying it to make a statement, okay? Now, the gentleman across from me takes this to a level that is just so uncalled for. I want to be clear about this. I don't really use the N-word. You can go back through every episode of this podcast, and I don't believe I've ever said it. In fact, I make a point to not use the N-word around white people because I don't want them to be comfortable with the idea of it at all. Oh, Derek, it's in music all the time. It has nothing to do with me. I can't control that. If you like listening to music that has the N-word in it, I mean, I do.
Go be all right. Nigga, we gon' be all right. Nigga,
I love Kendrick Lamar. The point is, just don't say it. So here's what happens. The gentleman across from me, backwards hat, glasses on, tattoos on. After I make the joke about being one of the good ones, which is not even something I truly believe. I don't think I inherently hold any more value than the average black person. It's a joke. He says, I'm going to be honest with you. And he like lowers his voice and he kind of like hunkers down and he makes direct eye contact with me as if what he's going to say is like really indisputable, as if it's like a really good point, as if I'm going to agree and appreciate with it. And he says,
now listen, there is a difference between black people and niggas. That's all I'm gonna say.
and to be fair to Sharif, bless his heart, he is like the most not subtle person ever. He can't hide anything. And I mean, almost immediately after the guy that's sitting right next to him says this to me, his black friend, Sharif just out loud is like,
Yeah, Derek, so are you thinking about going soon?
it's just, if I wasn't, look, in the moment, I'm not furious. I'm not angry. I'm just really shocked, which is kind of the same feeling I get every time somebody says something like super racially insensitive. It's not like fury or anger or sadness. It's more of just like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do people keep doing this? Why do people think it's okay? So what happens next? The guy that I've been sitting next to, that I've been having a wonderful conversation with, is like visibly ashamed and concerned because he doesn't know me well enough to know how I'm going to react to somebody saying the N-word completely unprovoked. And he's like,
Man, dude, you didn't have to, say that.
and I'm like, Sharif's just suggesting that we leave. The guy next to me is like, oh man, why would you? Come on, dude, you don't have to. And the guy across from me, the one that said it, he's like, at one point he like reaches out and he tries to touch my hand. I'm like, don't touch me. I'm just trying to understand what my next action's going to be. So I want to have a conversation about what just happened. So this is what I say. Friend, do you say that around other black people? Or am I the first black person you've ever said that to? And he says, no, I've told a bunch of my black friends that, I've said that plenty. I don't know if that was supposed to make me feel better or not, but at least it gives me a little bit of comfort knowing that he didn't see me as somebody that was worthy of using the N-word around, like me specifically. He's just generally an ignorant person. I'm like, okay. So you said what you just said to other black people. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to ask one more question, if that's all right, since we're already here, since we're like into it now. After you said that, what you just said to me, there's a difference between black people and niggas. Is that the first and last time you ever used the N-word around those black people? Or is this like a recurring thing? Like this is just you? Like I'm really trying to understand. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because the easy thing to do is just be like, this guy said the N-word. I don't think... if he's saying it now, the first time I ever meet him, like, I don't think he's going to get like better as time goes on. So, let's find out. So once I press with the second question, it just occurs to him that maybe he did something wrong and I might not be super happy about him using the N-word. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry if I offended you, etc. And I want to be really clear about this. What I'm going to say next is going to sound kind of harsh, but also I don't care.
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't care.
Sometimes saying you're sorry doesn't really mean anything at all. Like when it comes to this guy and when it comes to the other person that I may reference later that use the N-word, I don't want anyone to tell me sorry. I just want you to stop doing it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Is that so much to ask? Can you just not use the N-word? I just like the reason why I provided the context, why I told the story, why you're hearing it right now is because I just want you to know what led up to it. There's a part of me that feels personally offended because if I was my dad, if I was a black man in their 50s, would he have said that? Is he saying it because in his eyes, like, I'm a kid and I'm really nice and I'm probably not going to fight over it? Even the person that I've known for some time that said the N-word around me, and you probably like the context. It doesn't matter. I think that's the theme of the episode. It doesn't really matter what the context is. I talked to my brother about this yesterday for probably almost an hour. And he was doing a really great thing that I really appreciate. He's playing devil's. He's
Playing what?
He's doing a thing I really appreciate. He's playing devil's advocate.
Oh.
And he says a couple of things. One of them is people that are constantly exposed to something. They hear it in music. Their friends say it. They've had black people in their life call them it. It's just a matter of time until they might feel compelled to do so themselves. And I'm glad that we're having a conversation about it, but I thought, if that's the argument for white people using the N-word, it's a bad argument. We hear words all the time. We witness things all the time. We play video games all the time and don't go out and shoot people. We hear people say bad words all the time and we don't repeat those words. To this day, almost 6 years into my relationship, I've never, like, the worst thing I've ever called my wife is like ridiculous. No B words. No P words, no C words, no word. Like I just don't curse at her. Like not once ever. I could be drunk. I could be tired. I could be angry. I could be so let down. I've never called her any names, even though I've heard these words my whole life. I've heard other people use these words towards each other. And my point is, you just don't have to. My brother and I were having this conversation. In what context is it appropriate for white people to use the N-word? Never. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Is it so hard? It's just one thing. Now, if you're wondering how this interaction ended at the Buffalo Wild Wings, it ended with him apologizing and me accepting it for the sake of us being able to move on. But the apology doesn't mean anything. And let me explain to you why.
Why?
If Spice were to walk out of the bedroom right now, come over to me, pick up the microphone that I'm using to record this podcast, smash it on the ground, and then say sorry, that, like, you understand why that apology doesn't really mean anything. Why would you do that? You just didn't have to do that. One more example, because I thought about this a lot yesterday. If you run over my daughter with your truck,
Jesus Christ,
and then you're like, hey, I'm sorry,
It just doesn't matter.
her legs are still broken.
Damn.
My daughter is injured. We still have to pay the hospital bills. Your sorry means nothing. And that's how I felt when I was at Buffalo Wild Wings and this guy apologized for using the N-word. Because you already said it. Like, the damage is done.
Derek, what damage did that do to you? He didn't call you the N-word. He wasn't saying black people are inferior.
Just the fact that you're willing to use the N-word. First of all, the context in which he used it was also, like, actually racist. To say that there are different categories of black people. There are the black people that are like me in his eyes that I guess are like good enough to be, share a beer with and talk about sports with. And then there's, niggas, Oh, did he? Well, at least he said it with an A.
I used the word. I admit it. I thought there was a difference between nigger and nigga. I thought I understood this whole thing, but I guess I don't. I need help.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, as a black person, it doesn't matter. It stings, okay? It stings. When I was in 6th grade, people used to use the N-word to hurt me, to make me feel bad, to make me feel like I was less than.
Oh, they were kids. They didn't know any better. They were joking.
It's not funny. Didn't make me feel good. On my 15th birthday, I was walking to my friend Matt's house and somebody told me to get out of the road. I wasn't in the road, by the way. I was walking in the grass, and they yelled out their window,
"Get out of the road, nigger."
and they threw a water bottle at me. So when I hear white people use the N-word, I don't care about the context. It's like walking past a bush and you get like the prickly bit of the leaf just hits you. That's how I feel when I hear a white person use the N-word. It's never going to be okay. And I don't often like to come on here and speak on behalf of all black people, but I'm going to make an exception. There is no black person that enjoys hearing white people use the N-word. I don't think there's any black person that would justify white people's casual use of the N-word, even if it is to quote unquote make a point. Last thing I want to say about this. The guy at Buffalo Wild Wings, like I don't care. It doesn't mean anything. It was a one-off. Like we're probably not going to be like homies. Like it's no big deal. And even if I see him again at the Buffalo, it's not on site. We're not going to fight. Even though I say that the apology doesn't mean anything, I forgive him. And the reason why I say the apology doesn't mean anything is because even if he didn't say sorry, I'd still forgive him because, I'm a man of God, all right? Jesus would forgive. I can too. Like, it was a slip. Realistically, now that he knows that, like, I don't like it, he's probably not going to do it again. And his friend is probably, like, lighting his ass up the whole way home. It's like, man, we met these really cool dudes, and you just had to go and say the N-word. All you have to do is not. Why is it so hard? I'm starting to ramble. I feel it. I know there's probably somebody listening to this that might be white and might be a friend or a family member of mine, or I don't know. And they may have, said the N-word and I wasn't there to hear it, or they might have said it in my presence and didn't realize how seriously I took it. And I'm going to be honest, when I was in college, when I was in high school, I would let it slide. Because I just don't like making a big deal out of things. I don't like being a victim, but if I'm being honest, it hurts me. It just hurts. And why would you want to hurt somebody you care about, If we're having a conversation and you have to reference the N-word just the way I just did it 1 second ago, the N-word 2 seconds ago, the N-word 3 seconds ago, the N-word. Just say the N-word. How hard is it to not use? As a black person who apparently has permission to use it, I go days, weeks without saying the N-word. It's just not that hard. As if you saying the N-word, as if you saying the phrase the N-word, as if I wouldn't know what you're talking about. I don't need you to clarify. I know what you're talking about. It's okay. Last thing, just to wrap this all up, I want to ask a favor of black people that may be listening to this. If you use the N-word, I don't care. We won. We claimed it back. It used to be something that hurt us. If we want to use it amongst ourselves, that's cool. The only thing I'm going to ask is try and be mindful and limit the use of, the casual use of the N-word around, our white counterparts, because apparently, for whatever reason, some people feel like,
Well, they say it, so heck. We can too. You can't reserve words for some people and for...
Yeah, you can. I don't think we should make it illegal for white people to use the N-word. I just think they shouldn't. Ever. I forgive you, is the point. Friends, family, anyone I've ever known and loved, I forgive you. But now that you've listened to this episode and now that you know, stop it.
Stop!
This is not a threat. It's not a warning. It's like a matter of fact. I can't do it anymore. I'm going to have some kids probably in the next half decade or so. And I can't allow it anymore, you know, for their sake. I don't want them to have to go through what I went through as a kid because everybody's super cozy with the N-word. I don't want them to have to go through what my dad did or my grandfather did because I'm here making excuses for white people to say things that they just don't have to. So that's all I have to say about that. We're about 20 minutes in. I could talk about this forever, but if you have any questions or concerns or clarification that needs,
Yeah, good luck trying to finish that sentence, bud.
that you need, like anything that you need to know about this specific topic, I am an open book. Message me, comment on my stuff, text me, call me. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But I want to be super clear about this. You know, don't apologize. Just be better and hold, you know, your people accountable. If you hear, you know, as a white person, you hear other people, similar pigment of yours, using the N-word casually, just be like, hey, stop talking. You could have just said the N-word, you know, like, why do you have to actually say it? You know, stop it. All right, I'm done. I love you. Mean it. Schedule for therapy is changing because my YouTube uploads have finally caught up with the actual episodes of the show. So from now on, new sessions of therapy every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the corresponding YouTube videos will be released on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So the only day you get off from me is Sunday for the time being. But in the meantime, love you, mean it, enjoy the outro, and don't say sorry. Just be better. Thank you so much for joining me in therapy today. New sessions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Give me 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to my YouTube. It's free. And shout out Lobo for the beat.
Yes! Come to Papa!
Might just quit my job, but it's really not too hard, but it be draining me. She hate to see a place that do be paying me, but playing me. Need some advice, clock out and go home and talk to the wife. She's so supportive and trust I do right, but I don't want the judgment or shame that comes with the game of jumping ship too early. Beat is bumping surely, need that grease is curly. Talking about my hair is thick just like my kid's hair, but not till 30. Getting ahead of myself. Talking like there's 2 of me, but peep my podcast art, I'm working like it's triple overtime. I will go cuckoo for mine, all my dreams they are sublime. Wanted fame since I was 9, Lobo cooked this up divine. We go deeper, feel the vibe, we don't stop at season 3, feel like we is season 5. I'm at the peak of my power, I see prey I devour. If it's chess I'm the tower, thinking deep when I hit the shower. Dark thoughts, anxiety, I beat it all. Try again, then positive vibes, I let them in. Come join the boy, let's settle in. Keep it going hard, that's sediment. I do a lot with a few words, and that's like revenant. And that's funny, cause I'm a Leo. That's your ironic. Why? I don't believe in the signs, but I know I'm a star. Sun or moon, I'm like tune in, but don't look up. That's another Leo reference, now you shook up. Girls say men are dogs, but I just be in the yard.